All right, today we're jumping into a tool that is seriously changing the game for educators everywhere. We're talking about AI, but, not in that sci-fi, far-off kind of way. We're going to look at it as your new and maybe most importantly, tireless co-teacher.
Okay, so let's start with a number that I bet will hit home for a lot of you, 10 plus. That's how many extra hours a ton of teachers say they work every single week. And get this, it's not on teaching, it's on all the other stuff.
And yeah, this is the stuff I'm talking about. It's this absolute mountain of minutia, right? The endless grading, the back and forth emails with parents, all the reports, all the paperwork. This is the stuff that leads to burnout. It just drains the energy that really should be going to the students.
So naturally, when you bring in a technology this powerful, the first question on everyone's mind is always, wait, is this thing here to replace me? Let's get right into that. Let's bust the biggest myth floating around education tech right now.
And it makes total sense to be a little skeptical. The fear of the unknown is a really powerful thing, and it's so important to just acknowledge that anxiety. But what if? What if we've been looking at this whole thing the wrong way? So this is the big reframe. The myth is that AI is like a self-driving car, right? Designed to just take the wheel and do the job for you. But the reality? It's much more like power steering. It doesn't drive the car, but it makes the really heavy lifting feel almost effortless. It's a tool to assist, not to replace. And the whole idea behind this is something called cognitive scaffolding. The point of AI in the classroom isn't to just hand students the answers. No way. It's to help you, the teacher, build the frameworks, the ladders that your students can use to climb up to success all on their own. It's a ladder, not a crutch. That's the key.
Okay, that all sounds good in theory, right? But what does this power steering actually look like in a real classroom? Well, here's a story from the trenches about how one teacher totally transformed his work week.
So meet Mr. Henderson. He's a 10th grade biology teacher, been doing it for years. And he was facing that exact problem we talked about. He was losing that spark, that thing that made him want to be a teacher in the first place, because he was just buried under that mountain of administrative work. The change for him was, well, it was huge. Before he started using AI tools, Mr. Henderson was deep in that 10-plus hours a week zone on admin stuff. But after he started using AI for things like drafting student feedback or parent newsletters, that number plummeted to just 4 hours. That's a difference of 6 hours every single week. I mean, just pause and think about that. What could you do with an extra 6 hours in your week? For Mr. Henderson, the answer was, well, it was a game changer. See, he didn't just pack up and go home earlier. He took that time and poured it right back into his students. He started a brand new after-school biotech club. He created this amazing space for real, passion-driven learning, and that human connection that, let's be honest, no machine is ever going to replicate. He got his spark back. Okay, so Mr. Henderson's story gives us the incredible why. Now let's switch gears and talk about the how. Here are 5 really practical, totally manageable steps you can take to put your own digital co-teacher to work.
First up, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable, you have to verify that whatever tool you're using is compliant with student privacy laws. Second, don't try to boil the ocean. Just pick one small, repetitive task to start with. Third, tell the AI who you want it to be, give it a persona. Fourth, give it the background info it needs to actually help you. And finally, number 5, always review and refine what it gives you. Remember, it's a first draft, not the final word.
And a few of these guardrails are so important, they're worth repeating. You've got to use tools that are FERPA and SOC 2 compliant. That protects your students' data. And this is the big one. Never, ever upload student names or any personally identifiable information. And just remember, you're the professional in the room. The AI spits out a draft, you provide the expertise, the nuance, and the human touch. So, with all that in mind, how do you take that very first step? How do you go from all this theory to actual practice? Here's a super simple, low-stakes thing you can try, like this week, to get the ball rolling.
It's called the 5-minute time audit. Seriously, just take 5 minutes. Jot down 3 tasks you did this week that felt, well, robotic, mind-numbing, purely administrative. Now look at that list and just pick one. That's it. That's your first task to hand over to your new AI assistant.
And that brings us right back to the most powerful question of all, doesn't it? It's the one Mr. Henderson answered by starting his biotech club. What would you do with 6 extra hours a week? Would you start a new club? Spend more one-on-one time with a student who's struggling? Or maybe just reclaim some time for yourself and your family.
Because ultimately, that's what this is really all about. It's not about the tech for tech's sake. It's about using that technology to handle the boring stuff, the minutia, so that you have the time and, just as importantly, the energy to do what only a great human teacher can do. It's about getting to reclaim your spark.